Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with an awesome new unboxing video for you on a brand new knife from a brand new company. If you look at the case, you'll see the moniker MBK. That stands for Monterey Bay Knives, and this is their very first knife. This is the MinPin. The MinPin is a Ray Laconico design. Ray Laconico being a custom knife maker. Here you can see his name written on the spine of the blade as is his custom on his custom knives. Here you can see a nice case that this knife comes in with a nice furry inside, a microfiber sheet right here, and a very nice material on the outside. It's an oversized case that you could really use for just about any knife. But here it is. This is the MinPin from Monterey Bay Knives. So what is Monterey Bay Knives? This is owned and operated by a nice guy by the name of Sanford Owen. I got a chance to speak to him a little bit when he found out that I got one of these knives. And Sanford is good friends with Ray, Mr. Laconico, who has developed many knives over the years, both custom and production knives. In fact, recently, Mr. Laconico has had a series of production knives, including this mass drop Keen that I have on my table. And so it's been interesting to see multiple releases from the same custom maker coming from different production companies at different price points. That Keen is coming in at $130 or something like that. This one is $225. He also makes knives with Kaiser and other companies that come in at various price points. So it's interesting to see. I'll do a comparison video between this and the Keen so we can see why there are different price points. But this knife in general is coming in with this beautiful clip point design, these very nicely finished handles, and a small overall EDC size. This is a 3-inch bladed knife. So why don't we go ahead and get some vital signs on this knife while we're at it so we can see what we're working with. Up front is a 3-inch blade of S35VN steel. S35VN is a perfectly good steel, and I have absolutely no complaints. Sanford said that it's all about the heat treat anyways, and he made sure that his was heat treated the right way and that he had good steel on his blades. This is about 3.3 inches to the pivot, 6.9 inches of overall length. The handle here is coming in at about 3.8, 3.9 inches with an effective grip area somewhere in the 3.4 inches range right there. You can choke up a little bit onto this to give you a full 4 inches of grip area with that choil, but I don't recommend it if you have sausage fingers a bit like I do. This thing with its titanium construction is coming in with an overall weight of 3.01 ounces. So 3.0 inches to 3.0 ounces. I really like that ratio. That is a nice golden ratio with regards to that. So let's bring out the calipers and see what the width is, making sure I'm not in one of the speed holes. We're at 0.44 inches, so well under half an inch. And the blade stock is 157 thousandths, maybe 156 thousandths when it all zeroes out there. So let's take a look at some other knives for a size comparison real quick. We have a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and that's a pretty small knife to be that much smaller than a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I don't even know that there's much use in bringing, Para 3. That is the Para 3. Here is the Paramilitary 2. You can see absolutely dwarfed by the Para 2 right there. A couple of other small knives in my collection. This is the Koenig Knives Mini Goblin. So even a mini knife right here is much bigger than this MinPin. And so it's important for you guys to understand how small this knife really is. I thought it might be a little bit bigger when I got it, but in fact it is quite small. And that is okay because of these different components. So let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically to see why I like this knife so much. Taking a look at this blade, it is S35VN done in this gorgeous clip point style configuration. Very nice top swedge. Satin finish on the primary bevels here. They have an option for bead blasted on the bevels. I think both still come with the horizontal hand rub satin flats, as you can see there. I chose the satin finish because that's my preferred finish. Bead blasted sometimes shows wear a little bit more easily and sometimes causes the steel to rust when it's done on a steel, at least in my experience. And here in humid Louisiana where I live, it's probably not ideal. But the satin is a very nice finish, very consistently done, no real imperfections. Very nicely done. One thing I will comment on is the incredibly tiny sharpening choil right there. I'm super impressed that they did that. It is sharpened all the way back to the heel of the blade with a very minor little smile right there, but they definitely took time to create a sharpening choil and ensure that the entire length of that small blade was sharpened so that you could get the most out of it. I did not also mention that it does have a slight recurve to it, despite having this very large belly right here, so understand that that is the blade shape. Moving back to the pivot, this thing runs on ceramic ball bearings running in phosphor bronze cages. It has a ceramic detent that is very crisp. It has a flipper tab that I am not sure I'm totally in love with. It is a bit sharp. The problem is when you get your fingers anywhere near this lock bar, it's going to lock that bar into place, that blade into place, and make it a bit hard to deploy. And so I've ended up dragging my finger across this rather sharp flipper tab more than once, and it does kind of get uncomfortable after a while. But if you learn to keep your fingers well away from the lock bar, this thing fires with authority. If you learn to push it at exactly the right angle, it really fires quickly. And as you can see on the ball bearing pivot, it absolutely drops freely under its own weight, which is very impressive for a knife that's this small. It's very rare to get a small knife like this to have such smooth drop shut action like that. And to still not have any side-to-side play. There is no side-to-side play when disengaging this. I've tuned this right to the right spot. Perfectly centered, no blade play, nice lockup and everything. The pivot hardware is rather simple screws right here. It's nicely done. I've taken this knife apart, very robust. It's all T8 Torx on the pivot hardware as well as the body hardware. The clip I believe is going to be T6 construction. I've not taken that off yet. So moving back to these handles, I really loved this look, and it's even better in person. These beautifully orange peeled titanium handles, such a very, very nice finish. I was just blown away by this, and all of my expectations were exceeded when I got this in hand. Super, super nice finish. Much heavier orange peel than on the mass drop version right here done by WE. This one also has a slightly orange peeled texture. But this heavy finish in plain titanium is a very nice user handle finish, and I adore it. Something that they didn't mention in the specs that was quite a nice surprise is that the back spacer is made of carbon fiber. This is end-cut carbon fiber. Some people call it blackwood carbon fiber, and you only see the layers. So if I capture the light just right, you're going to see the chatoyance of the carbon fiber resin. And so you'll be able to see it. If I take the knife apart and I showed it to you, it would have the same checkered, it has the same checkered carbon fiber look as this real carbon fiber mat that I have right here. So very neat. This has a standard Laconico style pocket clip, a bit of an afterthought I feel like sometimes, but very simple and very functional. This one does work pretty well. I have put it in and out of the pocket a number of times. I may try to convince somebody to make me a custom aftermarket clip. I think this is begging for it. Just a little pop of color would be really cool on this. So what do I think of this knife? Initially, I am super impressed. Honestly, it is very nicely made. Beautiful finish work top to bottom. The fit and finish are excellent. Very nicely done. It's a little small for my usual size category. I think 3.25 is about as small as I usually go, but I wanted to get a smaller knife in hand, especially something that is as classic and as good looking as this knife is right here. And so I'm really happy to get it in hand. I was glad to be able to talk to Sanford Owen, the owner-operator of Monterey Bay Knives, and find out that he has some more projects in the pipeline. So his intention is to work with multiple custom makers using this Chinese development and production capability to bring the world really nice designs, really well executed from multiple custom makers that he considers to be personal friends. And so look out for Monterey Bay Knives and the new knives that they'll have coming out. So far they have 2 Ray Laconico designs. The rest will be coming in the future. So let me know what you guys think of this knife down below. I'm going to try to get a separate video coming up on the Keen versus this knife as a direct comparison. So leave some comments down below. Go ahead and check out MontereyBayKnives.com. You can see them on Instagram at Monterey Bay Knives. You can check me out on Instagram as Dr. Frunkey. Go ahead and click like to this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel here. And as always, guys, this is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.